Test, test.
So the time is now 6:01, and I will call the meeting to order for the April 21st Redevelopment Commission meeting. If staff would like to take roll call.
Peter Shaka,
Present.
Ryan Hamilton. Ryan Hamilton.
Here.
Bo Bigelow,
Here.
Casey Kendall,
Here.
Cassandra Meehan.
Here.
Mr. Chairman, we have a quorum.
Perfect, thank you. At this time, members of the public may comment on matters not on the agenda. The commission's response is limited to responding to criticism, asking staff to review a matter commented upon, or asking that a matter be put on a future agenda. Is there anyone online that would like to address the commission at this time, or here in the building?
Mr. Chairman, I don't have any requests to speak on the communications from citizen in person, so we will go ahead and unmute the public line. And if you would like to make a comment in the communications from citizens, please state your name. We are unmuting now. Mr. Chairman, I hear no requests to speak on the communications from citizens online.
Thank you. So at this time, we'll move into the administrative items. We need to consider the approval of the minutes for the regular meeting held on March 17th. Are there any edits the commission wishes to make?
Now am I on? Okay. I have an edit, please. Line item 5 mentions that I'm registered in other states. That's incorrect. I'm registered in Arizona. I have worked in other states. Thank you.
And registered as an architect.
That's correct. Thank you.
Perfect, thank you. So with that edit, do I have a motion for the Redevelopment Commission meeting minutes for March 17th? A motion for approval.
I motion to approve meeting minutes for March 17, 2021.
Have a second?
Second.
Perfect. So all in favor, please say aye.
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 Anybody opposed? There's none, so the motion does carry forward. Thank you, guys. So tonight, kind of some sad news. We want to say thank you to Ryan Hamilton. He's online. I thought he was coming back from Tucson today, but he's very busy, and he's served on this commission now for, I believe, over 9 years, or maybe exactly 9 years, from May 2012 all the way through April of this year, 2021. So if you can imagine, in those 9 years, the district has seen a renaissance during that time frame, and it was under Ryan's leadership and guidance that has really, truly helped shape the district as you see it today. So it's hard to quantify how much of an impact Ryan really has made. There's a huge difference from that many years ago. During his years of service, Ryan has served in a leadership capacity, providing for the creation and adoption of the 2018 Heritage District Redevelopment Plan and the 2021 Heritage District Design Guidelines. During Ryan's tenure as a commissioner, he provided design review for a majority of the buildings you now see today. Heritage Marketplace, which houses offices and restaurants like Zinburger, Clever Koi, Pomo Pizza, and Barrio Queen, the Ash Street and Hernway Garage, Postino, Joyride, and Snooze, Building 313, which houses E-Tix, the Bio Cafe, and Sotol, Whiskey Row, the Hannah Building, which both serves as offices, and the 100 North Bar, Gilbert Shops, which houses Oso and the Creamistry, Hale Theater renovations, Culinary Dropout, The Porch, SoCal Fish Tacos, the Clab Office and Retail Building, Aspire Heritage District Condos, the District Lofts, the University Building, home to Park University, and the University of Arizona. So when you think about the number of projects that Ryan has served on and left his mark on, it's truly awe-inspiring. So we are very, very grateful for your service and dedication to the Gilbert Heritage District, as well as your guidance, thoughtfulness, experience, leadership during this service on the commission. We wish you the best as you continue to shape this community. So thank you, Ryan.
No, the Commissioner, Chair, thank you very much as well. I think I've told a few of you, it's been a pleasure and a privilege to serve, and mostly for the people I've been able to interact with and meet. So those projects are important and nice, and it's been an honor to serve with during this time period, but it's been mostly the people that I'll miss, and I wish all of you the best of luck and pass the torch, and I know there's continued great things to come, so thank you all.
Thank you. And I had a pleasure of serving with you for 2 years. I've learned a lot through your leadership. So again, thank you. You're always very thoughtful and very considerate. You do your homework, and so I really appreciate that. So I've taken a lot of notes on how you sat up here and guided. So again, thank you. Anybody else want to say anything to our Vice Chair, Mr. Hamilton?
I've been here you've been here ever since I've been here, and I've just like to repeat what Peter said about you just paying attention to detail, and especially in the beginning, I really looked up to you, and I still do. But just when a project was brought before us, I noticed that you had specific questions, and you always came prepared and were thinking ahead and very forward thinking. And I know a lot of the stuff in downtown wouldn't be what it was if it wasn't without you. If it wasn't without you. So I really appreciate your service and your time. Thank you.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Okay. So with that, we will move on to the public hearing portion of our meeting. I'll now open the public hearing part. Items will be heard on one public hearing, at which time anyone wishing to comment on a public hearing item may do so. Comments will be heard from those in support or in opposition to an item. In order to comment on a public hearing item, you must fill out a public comment form indicating the number of which you would wish to be heard. Once the hearing is closed, there'll be no further public comment unless requested by a member of the commission. After the public hearing, the commission may act on all items not requiring additional staff, public, or commission comment with a single vote. So staff, if you would please come forward for item 3, it's Z21-01, the Burnett Building.
Good evening, Commissioners. The request before you tonight is Z21-01, the Brunette Building. The subject site is located at the south west corner of Page Avenue and Gilbert Road in the Heritage District, right between the farmhouse building and the Norwood's Furniture Store. The subject site is approximately 0.36 acres, and here's just a little closer aerial to see those currently undeveloped parcels as they lie. So the request is for rezoning. They are not changing the base zoning district of Heritage Village Center. They are adding a planned area development overlay in order to increase the height from 55 feet to 68 feet. The main intent of this is to allow for a 4-story mixed-use development with a variety of uses, including office, retail, and entertainment type uses there. Just to provide a quick overview, you guys did previously see this project at study session last month on the 17th, and I did receive comments from you and also from a resident at that hearing. We are now at the second hearing, which you will provide formal comments and a formal recommendation to the Planning Commission. After it goes to Planning Commission with their formal comments, it'll go to Town Council for final approval. So just a quick overview. So here's the outline of the overlay area for the planned area development. As you can see, it goes into the right-of-way as well as into the back alley portion. Just to the right there, I provided you a little snippet of the site development regulations. So again, they are only requesting one deviation from the code in order to have that maximum height. I will show you some renderings towards the end here that was provided by the applicant to display the massing to show why they would like the height increase. And then in addition to what the applicant requested to increase the height to 68 feet, last hearing there was a lot of feedback from the commission regarding different elements that were shown in those renderings that justified the increase in height. So some things like landscaping, step back on the fourth floor, and other items such as that. So staff took those items into consideration and worked with the applicant and provided some additional conditions of approval that will be included in the ordinance for the planned area development overlay in order to mitigate some of those potential issues and bring that building into fruition that is being promised to the commission. So the top one is just the building height modification that's being requested by the applicant. And then if we move into required minimum building step back, so that item is to step back the building from the fourth floor. So I'll just pull up the elevation here so that you guys can see it. So as you can see here, the applicant has proposed a building for concept only that is 3 stories with a fourth floor that has a top feature, a top rooftop amenity with a type of atrium feature, and they have displayed it in the original rendering step back. So in order to capture that and make sure that that element is completed, we are requesting that there is a 15-foot step back minimum. So it can be past that point, it just can't be closer than that. In addition to that, we also had the conditions of approval regarding landscaping. So we came up with a number of 10% of all those patio areas and such will be landscaped. Also, there is a concern about the maximum tree height on the top floor and that impeding some of the views are growing above what is the permitted height. So there is a provision in there about maximum height of the trees would be 20 feet. Sorry, just ensuring that I covered it. And then if you saw in the report as well, there was 2 additional conditions of approval. One of them was requested by legal for an access easement and the other by engineering in case any type of the land comes under some common ownership. So I can go over those if you guys would like as well, but I just provided these conditions for you. The applicant has also provided a conceptual site plan. This has not changed since you saw it the last time, where they're just showing you where they are proposing that pedestrian walkway on the south side, along with where they're proposing their outdoor seating areas. And again, I'll just quickly go through these renderings. These renderings also have not changed since you saw them last month, but for your reference here. So this just is a rendering for concept only to show the conceptual layout of the building and the massing. And just to provide a little overview of the public input thus far, there was a neighborhood meeting on July 7th, 2020 that I did go over the last hearing. Most of the concerns had to do with the height increase and then some other type of resident and also commercial concerns with some of the shared access areas. During the last hearing, it was a study session, so there was no ability for the comment to public, but there was a resident who did speak their concerns during the communications to citizens and cited concerns over noise mitigation efforts being completed on the 4th story in order to protect residents, along with parking and some few other items. Since then, the project has been publicly noticed and the site has been posted, and staff has not received any additional notification or any type of communication from residents or property owners. And we are recommending approval to the Planning Commission for this project, and I'm available for questions.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the commissioners? I had a couple questions, just clarification. On the 10% of the required landscape, what is that? Can you explain that a little bit more? Is that a canopy? Is that the pot it's planted in? Can you explain a little bit more for me?
Chair Shaka, so you would like clarification on the planting methods that?
Perhaps the method, but I think the purpose, I think overall the design is smart, it's beautiful, it's an amazing what we see before us, it's beautiful. I think the purpose of the 4th floor, particularly the planting of the trees is additional screening. The setbacks take care of it on the first, I guess, the first attempt, and then the vegetation is additional ways to screen that height, right? Which again, last month we'd lose any sleep over that total height of 68 to the very peak of the roof. I just want to know if that 10% is that looking at it from a mature tree, you said 20 feet for a mature tree. Is it the canopy? Is it the pot it's planted in? That was one question. And then also, do the type of trees that have a 20-foot mature height, are what kind of trees are those? Could they be mesquite, ficus, and sometimes in our winter times here, ficus freeze? And what's the authority to maintain the aesthetics of the purpose of those landscape areas?
Commissioner Shaka, so for your first question, it is measuring the gross floor area of those open portions of the building, and it would be from the base of it, not the tree canopy. So if it was a planter, if it was a pot, it would be through that type of measurement. So not necessarily the canopy for that mature growth. For your second question of what type of trees can go there, so we're leaving that subject to the applicant, and when they do come in for construction document review, we do have a landscape reviewer in the building department who is very knowledgeable on plant species and growths, and she will determine if that meets the criteria of the maximum height. So there's different types of hybrids and such that could also go in there. So I don't have any recommendations at this time of what exactly would be 20 feet, but that will be determined at that point, and we do have a dedicated landscape reviewer who can work with the applicant on that to ensure that it doesn't go above. And if it does go above, there is the ability for code compliance to go out and do that. So this is a unique situation. This would be the first time that it would be, but we do have that capability to have a code compliance officer go out and inspect and enforce if there are some species that grow above.
Thank you. Even replacing a tree, right? In 3 years, if one died, perhaps, but just keeping the same kind of look and feel. So those answer my questions. I appreciate it. Are there any other questions from commissioners?
I got one real quick. The overall building, I love it. I think it's gonna look really good. I especially love the trees and just everything that's going on. I know for the entire building, it has a mixed use, bars, nightclub, lounge, dance, office, general, a lot of different things. Do they have an idea of what they want to do on that top floor? I know you mentioned an atrium area, and then there's going to be mechanics on the roof. But do you know what the purpose of the top floor would be?
Commissioner Bigelow, we do have the applicant here tonight as well, so maybe he could provide some additional insight. My understanding is that it will be some sort of restaurant up there for the indoor and outdoor portion, but he is here tonight, and I believe would be more than happy to provide some additional information if the commission would like some more details.
Yeah, if that would be awesome. And then maybe if you wouldn't mind going 68 feet, I'm all for it. I think going up is the way to go, especially with all the hype and everything around downtown Gilbert and the density that we're getting. But going 4 stories and going 68 feet, I mean, we're going to have like, 18-foot ceilings on each floor or something. I don't know. It's interesting, but I'm just kind of curious what your thought was in going that high and all that, and kind of what was the reasoning behind it. But yeah, that would be awesome.
Any other questions from commissioners? So seeing none, I will see if there's any public members here that want to speak on the item.
And
Mr.
Chair
Chairman?
Shaka, did you want to invite the applicant up
Sure.
to answer any questions?
Yeah, let's do that first. If the applicant's here, would love to speak, would love to hear.
Okay. Am I on? Okay. Good evening, Chair and Commission members. I'm Peter Koliopoulos, President of Circle West Architects. We're the architects working with Todd and Tom Burnett on the building. We've been working with them for quite a while on their vision. We're really proud to be their architect and be in the Heritage District in Gilbert. We see echoing what was communicated in the beginning about what you all have done here. It's pretty incredible. We are based here in Phoenix, but we do work throughout the country. But we're super excited about Gilbert, and we're very honored to be hired by the Brunettes on the building and working with them on developing a vision. Part of the height and the massing all came from our initial communications with them as far as developing a design that really is a legacy project. The Brunettes have been here multiple decades in Gilbert. They own Norwood Furniture, obviously, and they see this as a legacy project for the town and obviously their family. And so that we approached it was in a very dynamic way. In other words, if I could just speak for a couple of minutes about the overall design. So really, the focus, funny enough, started on the pedestrian flow and how we addressed the street and how pedestrians moved up and down the street, how people crossed the street. So we spent a bunch of time studying all that. So if you look at the massing of the building, we want to establish a very strong base that was fluid and open. So programmatically, basically what we're envisioning is a restaurant on the first floor. We have 2 floors of office and then a bar outdoor area on the rooftop. And in an ideal situation from a tenant standpoint, we see the same operator that is going to own and operate the restaurant, operate the rooftop. That would be the ideal situation. Now, we don't have exact control over that. That's something Todd and Tom will go through. But conceptually, that's what we're envisioning. And what we also wanted to do was what we call deconstruct and push back the second and third floors, the office spaces. So, and then bring in the landscaping. So we wanted a very landscape-focused building environment that contributed to the pedestrian flow of Gilbert Road, and what we would like to call deconstructing the massing. So the rooftop outdoor bar area is really a function of putting people at that height, having them enjoy the view, obviously having them enjoy the view of the water tower. We see this as an opportunity for all the people in the town of Gilbert to experience, Sunday brunch, Easter brunch, dinner up there, if you will, or just simply going up there with friends and family. So the heights of the buildings or the height of the floors are really established from our experience in working with what we would call Class A tenants. So a typical restaurateur would like what we call a floor-to-floor of 18 feet for our first floor. Our typical office floors are 13 feet 4 inches. So these are heights and geometries that we found attract and are required to attract Class A tenants that would be contribute to the core of the town of Gilbert and be sustainable financially here, as well as socially within the overall design.
Great. Any other
Yeah.
questions?
No, I really appreciate it, Peter, for you explaining that and just kind of breaking it down, because visually it looks absolutely amazing, and I'm sure there was, meaning behind going higher and whatnot, and you explaining the Class A tenants, and there is something about walking into a space with the high ceilings and it being proportional and all that makes it feel right and special and unique, and hearing it from someone yourself who knows about this and studies it, I'm sure it does make a big difference as far as our tenants. So I just thank you for your design, and I think it's going to be a really good project.
Great. Thank you very much.
And while very different, if you've ever been to like a restoration hardware, that mass and those ceiling heights, it's very inviting. And I'm not saying that's what this is, but people put a lot of thought into big buildings that are still very intimate. So I see this as beautiful.
That's
Very
great.
good.
Thank you very much.
Any other comments?
Yes, Mr. Chair. I actually didn't realize that it went all the way around. So if I see this correctly, it's a 360 around the structure that will be essentially the fourth floor.
Yes, correct.
Okay. It caught my attention because you said a view of the water tower. So I didn't realize that it went all the way around.
360. Yeah, up on top.
It's a very nice design.
Okay.
I'm
thank
excited
you.
for it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And it's not necessary to put the slide up, but last month, and then also in our packets, it is a building that was considered each side of it, all four sides. It's not a front only. It's a four-sided, well thought out property, even entry and experience on the backside. That was also very interesting to see. Thank you.
Thank you.
If there's no more other comments from the commissioners, is there one more comment?
Yes. I do like the effort that was put forward with the renderings, and I do think it's beautiful. I wish there was an opportunity to see more of a flattened elevation to get another perspective of what that 13 feet increase in height could feel like. But it's not. So I don't know if it's a real comment because it's not here, but perspectives are objective and they're not to scale. So it's beautiful. I just can also see in 2D and for some reason feel like I need that.
Perfect. Thank you. So with that, are there any people in the public here that would like to speak on this item?
Mr. Chairman, we have 2 requests to speak, and so I will first call up Alan Fitzgerald. Alan, if you can just state your name and place of residence, please.
Good evening. Thank you very much for the work that you all do. I've been a business owner. Oh, I'm sorry, I have to tell the residents. I've lived in Gilbert for 35 years or more, plus or minus. I live about half a mile from the Heritage District, and I've been a business owner in the district now for just over 11 years. I own approximately half of the Heritage Court building, about just over 14,000 square feet, and the second floor is where my business is located, and that is the level at which I will be looking across the street, and I've been looking at Norwood Furniture since we have opened the business, and those lots have been in desperate need of development since I've been in the Heritage District, and I'm very happy to see energy going into cleaning up those 3 lots that are there. The objection that I carry tonight to the commission is violation of the Heritage Redevelopment Plan, which states building height is 55 feet. Not particularly crazy about that, except that plan was developed by stakeholders in the Heritage District and comes to me as a stakeholder and somebody who has a significant investment in the Heritage District before it was what it is now known for, a culinary destination. That document means something to me. It means a plan, and holding on to a plan is very important. It helps to establish baseline, helps to establish expectations. One of the requirements, or I don't really know how to state when that plan looks like a requirement and when that plan looks like a suggestion, but it says that the Redevelopment Commission is to advocate for the prioritization of redevelopment goals. And in the redevelopment plan, it's very clear on building height. And building height is 55 feet. The view for me in my building and my tenants will be disrupted by a 68-foot tall building. I'm concerned about the planting on the top and the management of the view. I happen to concur with Commissioner Meehan, if I said that correctly, about the 2D perspective. I have found the 3D renderings to be not the way I see it from my building. And I can't speak specifically to that. I'm an engineer, so I have a 3D concept of the way the world looks from drawings. And I believe it's going to be far more disruptive to my enjoyment of the view than the renderings illustrate. So I believe that it would be to the benefit of my interest in the Heritage District and to other owners of property in the Heritage District with whom I've spoken on this, that the commission looks at this and not approve the zoning change for the additional height. There may be some alternatives. I'm very happy to see the property being developed. I don't believe that the Heritage District guidelines and plan should be violated beyond what's already in place for that space. I was on the July 7th call and listened intently and looked at the renderings and the presentation. I'm very confused by what is the site plan, what is town property, what is a setback, what is the look and feel, and what is the pedestrian circulation in the downtown. And this walkway may or may not achieve the best pedestrian circulation that's possible. And the last point, because I've been here so long and the farmhouse was the only restaurant downtown, very concerned. It's an adobe structure. Very concerned that we may see damage to that in the construction of a large building. And I don't understand what can be done to mitigate that for any development next to that building, but I understand it is adobe. I believe it has a basement where the adobe was originally brought up to build the building. So it may be at some risk. Anyway, I request as a stakeholder and an investor in the downtown, before it was the downtown as we know it, that you stay to the plan of the Heritage District, keep the height at 55 feet, do not allow that to go beyond that, and put a gorgeous project in that space, just at the level recommended by the plan. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other comments?
Can you hear me? Mr. Chairman, we have one additional request to speak from Mary Ellen Fresquez.
Thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Commissioners and Council Member Tilke, thank you for the opportunity to speak. My name is Mary Ellen Fresquez, and I reside in Gilbert. I would like to ask the Commission to vote against rezoning the Brundett property to modify the maximum building height from 55 to 68 feet. I would like to give kudos to the Brundetts and to their architect for a beautiful building. I think it's a beautiful building in the wrong location. And I would really like for the town of Gilbert and the applicant and the Redevelopment Commission to think outside of the envelope and perhaps consider a swap in property to either the northwest corner of Gilbert and Elliott or the southeast corner of Gilbert and Elliott. I served on the Redevelopment Commission for 12 years. I think that the redevelopment plan is your Bible. It's your promise to merchants, it's your promise to residents. And I think you should abide by that. In the introduction to the redevelopment plan, it says, the Heritage District offers the opportunity to enhance the district's retail, commercial, and residential vitality while celebrating the intimate atmosphere and the historic character. Small town feel, agricultural heritage, scale, Latino culture, Latino history, family, the railroad. These are themes that occur many, many times in the redevelopment plan. The need to preserve the picturesque views of the water tower appears over and over and over again in the redevelopment plan and in your design guidelines. The document that was provided by the applicant, and is before you tonight, presents some mitigating features. But it remains that the line of sight to the iconic water tower is not protected. I just like to say, if 100 people per day were on the rooftop for 5 days a week, for 52 weeks a year, well, about 26,000 Gilbertonians could access the promised vistas that are in this applicant's plan. That's less than 10% of the population of Gilbert. I would also posit that the low-income residents, which actually reside in the Heritage District, will probably never see those vistas. They aren't going to go up there to those restaurants. They're not going to see that. The redevelopment plan and the design guidelines also emphasize pedestrian and bicycle access with routes that are parallel to auto-dominated roads. To me, that's Gilbert Road, and it goes north and south. Currently, even service vehicles are hindered because there is no north-south alley that exists on the west side of Gilbert. Our downtown is challenged in its transportation capabilities because of the railroad, but no alley exists because the town of Gilbert leases a right of way, to extend the footprint of Norwood's furniture. That's why garbage from this project, if it's built, will have to be mechanically towed on Ash and on Page to trash containers on the south side of the Brundrett property. I say enough. Say no to 4 to 5 stories. Say no to the right-of-way that is now not accessible to other merchants. In the study session, per the minutes that I read, commissioners said they love the trees, they love the greenery, they love the renderings, they love the project. Chairman Shaka said that it looked expensive, but expensive doesn't appear in any Heritage District criteria. Mr. Chairman, you said that it would bookend the downtown. Well, I have a map of the redevelopment district. This is the Heritage District. And if you look from the north to the south and the east to the west, the building that you're talking about tonight doesn't bookend anything. It's right in the center of the redevelopment plan, right in the center of the Heritage District. So it doesn't bookend anything. The intent, for as long as I remember redevelopment plans, was always to have 1, 2, and 3-story buildings at the center of the Heritage District with 3 to 4 stories and possibly 5 stories at the perimeter of the Heritage District. In this way, the iconic water tower, the line of sight, would in fact be preserved. So, in closing, I ask you to vote no, and I thank you very much for your time.
Thank you, Ms. Frescas. Are there any public comments? Anyone from the public that wants to speak on this item?
Mr. Chairman, that is all of the requests from the public to speak in person, but we will unmute the public line. And if you are on the public line, please state your name and if you would like to speak in regard to item number 3.
And
John?
Amanda, quick question. If someone's here that didn't fill out a card, could they come to the podium now?
Certainly.
So anyone here that didn't fill out a card, if you would come to the podium and state your name. Thank you.
Can I take my mask off? My name is Todd Brundrett, one of the owners of Norwood Furniture. And so we're the applicant, and I just wanted to thank the town staff for helping us with this project, and I want to thank the commissioners. And I appreciate your point of view, and I just want to clear up a few things. So we've been down here since 1975 with Norwood Furniture. And our family, my mother and father and myself, care deeply about the town of Gilbert and the Heritage District. We've worked very hard to help the Heritage District develop to the point where it's at. So we're huge supporters, and we would not do anything that we thought was a detriment to the Heritage District or that water tower. I mean, I was the original chairman of the Water Tower Preservation Coalition. So I know all about that water tower. So, a couple things on the height. Number one, the top rail, the top floor that people sit on that up deck is 48 feet. So it's 7 feet below your required height. We said, well, we could go to 55, and then we could put a 5-foot screening on air conditioners, right? And take it to 60. Or we could do a little something else and create an amenity where people can come up there and see that beautiful sunset that we've been fortunate enough to see for 46 years. So then the other thing we wanted to do is build a top class building. And Peter has helped us do it, Peter and Nathan. And in order to, it's going to be an expensive building. In order to have a nice looking building, you need to be able to attract tenants that are going to have to pay for that. So we had to have ceiling heights a particular height. We had to have a look a particular way. And we said, well, let's just put an amenity up there that the whole community will love. So that's why we came up with that height. And the restaurant bar on the top is going to be nothing but first rate. Those trees are going to get taken well care of. If they die, they'll be replaced. And we have the traffic circulation for pedestrians that the town wanted. We gave them that. And the whole thing about this easement in the alley that Mary Ellen brought up, we negotiated that with the town back in 1995. There was zero development going on back then. And we doubled the size of our furniture store when there's nothing happening. So that was an economic development project. And I think it's paid off nicely. So there's no need to have north and south circulation through that alley. There's all kinds of ways to get around. But I want to let the Redevelopment Commission know, and the town of Gilbert, that that's going to be a great project that you can be proud of, and we're going to be proud of, and we're not going to do a sloppy job. And we're going to get quality tenants in there. I can appreciate Alan's point of view that he's going to get some block of that tower, from maybe his window, but it's a very small sliver. We've already investigated that with the architect, and it's really inconsequential. So that's what I got to say.
Thank you, appreciate it. Amanda, are there any comments from anyone online?
Jocelyn, if you could go ahead and unmute the line, and then to the public, if you are interested in speaking in regards to item number 3, please state your name and place of residence. Are there any comments on item number 3? Hearing none, we have no further comments from the public at this time.
Perfect, thank you. So are there any additional comments from the commissioners? The only comment I would have, I have one, and that is last month and even prior to this, looking at this, I probably would like to bring staff back up, actually. So I wrestled with the difference between 55 and 68 and that 13 feet. And I started to look at the design. Well, it's not 2D, it is 3D, and 3D from different perspectives as you would walk on the sidewalks of Gilbert Road. There will be some people that are not going to be able to see the water tower that they see it today. I'm a big believer in property rights and owners' rights of property, and I think there a lot of thought has gone into this. So my question to staff is, without rezoning this property, could the applicant build 55 feet on all four sides right up to the property line? It is a zero lot line property, correct?
Correct.
And could they build 55 feet straight up on all four sides?
Correct.
And so as I learned that that was what they already owned as a property right or the hard zoning, I think there's a lot of thought in this. And so while they are achieving an additional 13 feet, it's not mechanical screening, it's the roof pitch, the highest point of the pitch. But I thought a lot of thought went into pushing it back. And did staff, that 15 feet, I mean, can you go back on this slide? I do think that different perspectives, it would be different for a different viewer from different parts of the road of Gilbert or Mr. Fitzgerald's property. But I think they did a good job on that 15 feet setback is my point, instead of doing 55 feet to the property line. And that's how I was able to come to grips with it. Whether that fourth floor is 45 feet or 48 feet, to the applicant's point, if you look at the top half of this rendering, it's less than 55 feet. And looking at almost from Mr. Fitzgerald's point of view, if you were standing on the corner of his building, you do see the massing in the middle. I do believe this begins to bookend the district. While it's not on the very end, north and south, it's more critical massing that is going to happen over time. And maybe 20 years from now, the furniture store will be a taller building as well. So I think a lot of thought's gone into this. I think the applicant has been very concerned. I think that his hired architect firm has put their thought into this. And I think last month, a lot of the commissioners had the same concern. So that was my only question to staff about them using their zoning height and their required 50 or their maximum 55 feet. I think they put some thought into kind of making it look better than 55 feet at the property line. That was my only comment. Any other comments? Seeing none, I will ask for additional comments from staff. None? So with that, I will entertain a motion. Vice Chair, would you like to make a motion?
Mr. Chair, I'd love to make the motion, but I don't have the name of the or the zoning case number in front of me based on my location here. So there it is right there. Okay. Go back one for me. Thank you. All right. I move to recommend approval of the Planning Commission for the approval of Z2101, the Burdette Building.
Perfect. That was second to that motion. I would like to second that motion for a request for rezone for Z21-01. So this time I'll take a vote. If you're in favor of this, we have a motion and a second. So if we have motion and a second, I will look for votes of approval from the commissioners. So all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. We have two. Opposed?
Aye.
Give me 1 second. Aye.
So we have two opposed, two in favor.
Aye.
So we have three opposed, two in favor. So the motion does not carry forward recommendation
Mr. Chair,
for approval.
Mr. Chair.
Yes,
I approve.
you do approve.
Yes.
So we have three in approval for the rezone of the Z21-01, the Brendette Building, and we have two opposed. So the motion does carry forward for approval. Thank you. So upon completion of item number 3, I now close the public hearing. With that, we're going to go into the communications part of our meeting today. So I do not have anything to report on current or future events. Does our council liaison have any questions or announcements?
I do. Thank you, Mr. Chair. Just a couple of updates from the council. Last night, we approved the CDBG grant allocation, which includes the Heritage Center improvements. Part of that was the ADA upgrades. And I think you'll probably hear more about that in the future from staff, but wanted to let you know that passed. Also, we passed the approval of a consultant for the Heritage District passenger loading zones. So you'll be seeing that coming forward, I'm sure, soon. We are looking, we will be receiving recovery funds from the federal government, and we are looking at using part of those for the advocacy center. We haven't approved it at staff, at the council level yet, but we should be getting that soon. The option was going to be to bond that. So we're going to be excited not to have to bond that and actually build that to help some of the less fortunate in our community. We had a study session on the regional park on their next phases. So if you want to take a look at some of the exciting things that they're looking at down there, it's really pretty cool. And then the town has scheduled their second vaccination pod to get their employees all vaccinated. So I think that's what we have. Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any comments from commissioners for current or future events? Seeing none, I will go to our staff liaison for current or future events.
I just wanted to say thank you, Ryan. It has been an incredible honor to serve with you and a lot of fun. And I'm just very thankful for the way that you've helped us reshape the Redevelopment Commission, the really thoughtful approach you've brought to design, and just your overall friendship. So thank you so much. And very happy for all of the great things that you're going to do.
Likewise. Thank you very much. Thank you to all of you.
Perfect. So with that, I guess we will adjourn the meeting. I appreciate everyone's time tonight. Thank you.